and we're talking about the XL Keystone pipeline and what that would do to our environment. And you guys have been a force on this issue. And one thing that you guys have done that you guys do really well is sort of building actions around this issue. So the Keystone Pipeline, the president is the ultimate decision maker here, like you said earlier, on this. Now, what is it that we can do as progressives and as grassroots members, or grassrootsist, as I call us from time to time? What is it that we could do to work on solving some of these problems?
Well, there's a few things that we can do. One of the important things to know is this decision is going to be made likely in the fall by the president. And like you said, this is something where the president doesn't need congressional approval. Republicans in the House can't block the right decision on this. This decision belongs to the president and the president alone. He gets to say whether or not he will grant the presidential permit to let this pipeline cross the northern U.S. border from Canada and bring this oil down to the Gulf Coast to be refined and sent to China, where it will be burned. And there's a few things at different levels. At the lowest level, activists can be talking to people they know to try and combat the misinformation about the Keystone XL pipeline. The only Americans who are going to get oil from the Keystone XL pipeline is the oil that spills in our communities. We've had a spill this week in Arkansas, at least 10,000 barrels of this terrible oil. There was a train wreck last week that spilled more of this Canadian tar sands oil. The only oil Americans are going to get from this pipeline is the oil that spills. The other important key point to spread is that this pipeline, by the government's own assessment that came out from the State Department, is only going to create 35 permanent jobs in America. Just 35. So this isn't a question.
Wait a second, Becky. You took the question right out of my head. I was literally going to say, so what happened to the argument of this is going to create jobs? Drill, baby, drill. Jobs, jobs, jobs.
There are a lot of tough choices that Americans need to make about the jobs that dirty energy produces versus the risk to our environment. This is not one of them. There are only 35 permanent jobs. The State Department, in its assessment, which basically pointed to the fact that we should go forward with Keystone XL, even that assessment said that there's only going to be 35 permanent jobs created by this pipeline. So this project, it's not a choice between accelerating climate change and creating good jobs in America. This is not one of those choices. This is strictly a giveaway to big international oil companies, and Americans will be the ones to pay the price when that pipeline spills. We're not going to get any of that oil. That oil's all going to be refined on the Gulf Coast and then shipped off to China to be burned. Now, this is why so many people are so upset about this, and there's several things that our members are doing. One thing is we're getting ready to confront the president everywhere he shows up outside of Washington, D.C. Now, inside Washington, D.C., the conventional wisdom is that the oil lobbyists, have to be given something in this fight over what we're going to do in the future about energy. And so inside Washington, D.C., the suggestion is that they're going to have to approve Keystone XL. But if you get outside of Washington, D.C., and people have the facts about this, they want to do they want real action about climate change, and they know that the president gets to make this decision, they want him to reject the pipeline. So when he comes to San Francisco tomorrow, he's coming to raise money for Democratic congressional candidates, and he's going to be in a swanky neighborhood on the top of a big hill in San Francisco. And
Pacific Heights, is that correct?
It's going to be at the Getty Mansion in Pacific Heights, and I'm going to be out there with 1,000 other activists who are going to be delivering a message to the president that he needs to reject this pipeline and do something real about climate change. If he approves this, it's going to be his legacy on the environment, and we want to make sure that he's not just hearing from the oil company lobbyists in D.C., or he's not just hearing from the very, very wealthy donors. And we know money talks, so we know we have to be louder, and that's why 1,000 of us are going to be out there outside the Getty Mansion, and we're going to be delivering a message to the president. We're even bringing a brass band that we're going to be marching behind to get up there to make sure that he hears this, and he and his handlers are going to be hearing this everywhere he goes outside of Washington, D.C., whether it's giving a commencement speech at the Ohio State University campus or whether it's going to be raising money from wealthy donors in San Francisco, California. Now,
go ahead, Becky. I was saying I love that. Now, where can people find out more information about the action?
So you can find more information about the action if you go to the Credo Mobile Facebook page. So if you go to facebook.com/Credo, you can find out more about the action and you can sign up. You can also sign up at credoaction.com. I want to tell you about one more thing that we're doing because we know that the White House at this point, they're not listening to the scientists, and despite massive public comments that have come in through official channels against approving this pipeline, which will mean game over for our fight against climate change, we also have, and this is at credoaction.com, Credo has also gone out and asked people, will you join us in pledging to resist this pipeline by risking arrest? And over 53,000 people,
Wow.
That's 53,000 people have said, I care so much about this that I'm willing to risk arrest to stop it. And we've just put this out there, and about 50,000 of them are Credo members. We have members of some other groups who've joined in. Most of the big environmental groups are supporting it, but they haven't asked people to join in yet. And so we're going to get 100,000 people to say that I am willing to commit peaceful civil disobedience to show how deep my opposition is to this pipeline. And this is something we haven't seen before in the climate movement. And I think it just goes to show that people want to do something about climate change. They can see that this is politically possible. It's up to the president. He just needs to know that the people that voted for him, that volunteered for him, that donated to him, that these people are willing to go to the mat on this issue and make sure that he gets the message to reject this pipeline.
I love it so much. We thank you so much for being on the show, Becky. And anything we can do here at Fowler Show to continue and expand this movement, we'd love to do it. We appreciate you so much.